Hello everyone, thanks for joining me. So in today's video I want to be going over some great beginners bodyweight fitness books. Even though I'm not a beginner, I definitely found some useful information in these books, and I kind of looked at it, and I know they are more based towards beginners, but I think these are definitely some books that whether you're a beginner or not, you could definitely get some value out of. When you get into bodyweight training, it can seem quite a lot to take in sometimes, especially with bodyweight training. What people tend to try and make people believe is that bodyweight training is hard to progress. You're limited to certain exercises, and it is a limited way of training in itself. And I definitely recommend, if you give these books a chance, take the time to read them. It will completely open your mind to training. If you're new to bodyweight fitness, this is going to give you a great foundation to start your bodyweight fitness journey. It's going to give you everything you need to build up a good foundation, to focus on the right exercises, to find good progressions, whether it's a progression or a regression, depending on your strength level and skill level, that will allow you to progress properly. If you're someone who has been training for a long time, maybe you've done a little bit of bodyweight training, this is still going to have some information there that is going to allow you to maybe take your bodyweight training to the next level. So I don't have the book for you at hand because I don't normally read books. I do all of my reading on my Kindle. It's faster, it's easier. I definitely recommend, if you do a lot of reading and you do it on the go, a Kindle is probably one of the best ways to go, and Amazon obviously has all of the books that I'm going to be referencing today. So if you want to check out these books, make sure that you check the link down below. Whether you got a Kindle or not, the reason why I prefer them as well is you get the book instantly, and they tend to be a hell of a lot cheaper. So especially if you're here in the UK, the books that I'm going to be referencing, some of them can be quite a lot more expensive because they're coming from America. So a Kindle is definitely a cheaper option. So the first book that I'm going to be talking about today is Convict Conditioning. So even though I can't show you it on here, it might not be as clear, I'll pop up the sort of the image of the front cover there for you. But Convict Conditioning, this is a book that I heard about after following a YouTuber called the Red Delta Project. And I'm a big fan of his channel, and he sort of talked about convict conditioning. And what I liked about it was it gave you a basic foundation of all the exercises you need to build a great foundation, build a great body, build great overall strength. And if you wanted to, this could be all the exercises you would need. And with all the progressions, these are stuff that could last you a long time. They go through all of the main basic principle exercises. So you've got stuff like your pull-ups, your push-ups, your squats, your bridges, your crunches, your leg raises. It went over the main core exercises, but it also had stages of every single exercise that you could go to progress it. And what I'll do is I'll pop a picture now to show you what they would look like. So typically I think it was like 8 stages that every single exercise would have, and it has the progression, the very basic core exercise, all the way up to something that would be seen as a master step. An example of that would be if you were someone that was doing typical pull-ups, the final stage would be the one-arm pull-up. Handstand push-ups, for instance, were in there. The final step would be a one-arm handstand push-up, one-arm push-up, the pistol squat, the full bridge where you literally stand up and you walk all the way around. Like, these are some of the master steps, which is the reason why these are great, is because it gives you an end goal of, if you focus time on this exercise, on this sort of muscle chain, this skill move, there is so much progression in which you could go. Especially if you, like I said, if you start at the very bottom, this could be years of training for you, depending on how athletic you are, how well you pick it up, how hard you train, how consistent you are. Some of these goals are unbelievable, like the strength, the skill, the athleticism to be able to pull off a one-arm push-up, one-arm pull-up, one-arm squat, one-arm handstand push-up. The strength, mobility, flexibility, coordination to pull them off is something that is very, very, it's at the top. Like, if you saw someone doing that, it would be incredible to see, and to be able to do that yourself is a great goal to be able to have. So if you're someone who is a complete and utter newbie, you would not know what exercises to focus on. And like I said at the start, some people make out that bodyweight training is very hard to progress. It's literally either do more reps or do more sets or add a weighted chin up, like add weight to yourself to make it more progressive, but this will show that there is so much more that you can do to your training to progress it. Each stage will have a beginner's level, an intermediate's level, and then a higher level of certain reps and sets that you should aim for, and once you hit them, you would then progress on to the next step. So it's very, very easy. A lot of these programs that you might find online don't show you how you can control your progression. What's the next step? If one step is too far ahead, how you can regress it. Like, this basically gives you a full program. Some people have said that maybe this book, it lacks certain exercises, there should be more stuff that should be added to it, but I think if you're a beginner, this gives you a good foundation to start off with, and it actually teaches you why you're doing each exercise, the benefits of it, the muscles that you're going to be hitting, and it gives you a great goal to be able to aim for. And a lot of time when you're training, especially as a newbie, that's the most important thing, having a program and having a goal that's attainable with little steps along the way to keep track of what you're doing, to see whether you are making progress or not. So that's the first one, Convict conditioning. I definitely recommend, whether you're a beginner or not, to check that book out. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. Like I said, the Kindle version tends to be a lot cheaper. I'm not sure what it's like in America though. The next book is Smart Bodyweight Training. And this is a book that was actually done by the guy who did Red Delta Project. I'm a big fan of his work. I think he has a very, very good channel that gives really, really good information without the BS, without the fitness industry jargon, without the idea that they're trying to sell you a product. And I finally bought this book when I got my Kindle because, like I said, it was a lot more money to buy it otherwise. And when I got my new one, I bought that straight away. I thought, you know what, I like his stuff, I'm going to give it a go and give it a read, because a lot of these YouTube channels, they say you can get this free ebook, and half the time it tends to be just full of crap. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. And you know what, it's one of the most eye-opening books that I have read fitness-wise ever. I would say it's a better book than Convict Conditioning, because you can tell whether something is a good book or not, because it will make you question everything that you believe. It will make you question everything that you've been taught, everything that you've learned, all of your experience. And when you hear something, or sorry, when you read something and you put it into practice, you don't realize that that was something that you completely unaware of, and it made a dramatic difference straight away. This book did that for me. Definitely should have more recommendations. It definitely should be a book that should be spread a lot more if you're into bodyweight training, because it is a fantastic book and it gives you everything you need from the ground up. But what it goes into, which I think is really, really important, is it goes into the core of training, like what is actually making you grow, what is actually making you get stronger. It teaches you something. I'm someone that, if I'm learning an exercise, I want to know what it works, how I can progress it, how I can regress it. I want to know everything about it. If I want to know about an exercise, and it's part of the reason why I did my personal trainer course, a big part of my interest when it comes to fitness and activity is anatomy and physiology. I want to know what muscles it's working, the joints that are involved, the impact that it has on your central nervous system. I find all of that fascinating. The fact that he goes into some of that into this book, and some of the key points of like tension control, it's a really, really, really interesting read. It will definitely change the way that you think about your exercise, especially when, as a beginner, you don't really know what to focus on. And a lot of the time when you watch these other YouTubers, read these other books, they literally are just focused on weight, reps and sets. Their only progress is add more weight, do more reps, do more sets. This goes into a load of different elements, as he calls them. A lot of it's like range of tension, angle to gravity, lots of different points that will change the way that you look at exercise. It will change the way in which you feel you could progress or regress an exercise. Stuff like the center line, stability. For instance, if you're doing a pull-up, you will find if you do a normal size pull-up, if you start bringing your hands more into the center, the exercise becomes more challenging. Same as the push-up, once you start bringing fingers into your center line, stability becomes a lot harder. Same if you're doing your push-ups with your legs out wider, you start bringing them in narrower, it becomes harder. If you start taking one leg off the floor, the stability is a little bit more difficult. The weight is distributed between 3 points instead of 4. If you're doing push-ups and you're a complete beginner, doing your push-ups on an incline, maybe, you know, up against a wall, will be easier. And once you change the angle of gravity to more flat, to then even raising your legs, it changes the way that your body is going to be challenged. And how tension is placed on your muscles. And that is sort of the thing that I got from the book, was the sort of the key thing is to focus on the tension and realize that even though tension is put on there by the external resistance, whether it's your body or the weight, the key thing that puts tension into the muscle is your mind. You are placing the tension there, especially if you just tense up there. I can tense up my arm, there may not be any resistance on there, but I am putting tension on there. The bodybuilder would kind of call it that muscle-mind connection, putting your mind into that muscle and really contracting and really thinking about, instead of just going A to B, thinking about really focusing on the muscles that are controlling that movement. And don't just think movement, but focus on the muscles that are performing that movement to make it more efficient and to get more tension in the muscle, because at the end of the day, it's that tension that's going to make you get stronger. It's that tension that is going to make your muscles get bigger. So that was a cool thing that I got from that book, and it definitely changed my perspective when it came to bodyweight training, and it made me feel a lot more motivated when it came to my bodyweight training, because now I can see that there's a lot more that I can do to progress and regress my training, and other things I can focus on. Instead of just thinking about the number of pull-ups I'm doing, I can focus on putting tension into my muscles, focus on my biceps, my forearms. I can focus on my rhomboids, my lats, my rear delts. I can focus on them. I can focus on what I'm doing with the rest of my body, my core, my legs, to really drive tension into my whole entire body, to make the exercise more efficient and get more out of every single rep. So you're not just working out for the sake of working out. There is real effort and real productivity to every single rep, every single workout that you do. And I found that very, very inspiring. It's definitely helped progression in my own bodyweight journey. The final book, and that's done by him as well, the Red Delta Project, Matt Schifferly, I think his name is the Grind Style Calisthenics. So basically how you can really focus on getting bigger and stronger using bodyweight training. And to be honest, between the two, I prefer the first one, Smart Bodyweight Fitness, but I did find this book very, very useful, and some of the, especially when it came to the reps, the exercises as well, and I will be doing a future video on what I would say is probably one of the best bridging variations I have done, especially if you're someone like me that struggles with mobility and flexibility in the shoulders. This I found made bridging more accessible, and it made it easier, and it made the contraction a lot better. So that'll be something that I'll bring to you at a later date, but that was an amazing exercise to bring in. But it goes into every single body part or chain that you could be working, focusing on not just muscles that work together, but movements that work together, and bringing them both together to get the most out of your exercise. It shows you all the exercises that you can do. It helps more with programming, and one of the best things that I actually got from the book was the idea of reps and backfilling, and it was a principle that I haven't heard of before, and I've been implementing in it, and it definitely makes controlling your reps and what you're going to be doing with them easier to control. And I kind of finding that it is making my training more efficient, my strength is going up, and I feel like I'm getting bigger with it as well. That I might do a separate video on in itself, but definitely an eye-opening book. So if you're someone that's just got into bodyweight fitness and you're thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing, if you go on YouTube and all of these different channels, they're flooded with people that are doing really advanced calisthenic moves. They might be doing muscle-ups, human flags, planches, all of these different moves, and a lot of that can be quite intimidating for people, especially when they can barely do a push-up or a pull-up, or even if they couldn't do a few pull-ups or push-ups or even dips. The idea of doing any of those exercises seems so far attainable that they kind of feel like they don't know where to start with any of them. These are the books that will give you a great foundation to build up strength everywhere, not just show muscle, but build the ability to have strong, stable shoulders, strong, stable core, you know, be able to use your body in a very efficient and athletic way and build your body up the way it should be. A lot of the time when you start off a beginner, you don't know what exercises to do, what reps, what sets, how to progress, how to regress. These books in combination will give you that platform, that will give you that foundation, and will take out the guesswork of knowing what to do. So once you start training, you can start making real progress straight away and not do what a lot of us have done in the past, which is waste months or even years flipping between different programs and never really making any progress. But like I said, those books will be in a link down below. Like I said, if you've got a Kindle, it's a lot cheaper, but definitely recommend checking those books out. So that is the Convict Conditioning, Smart Bodyweight Fitness, and Grind Style Calisthenics. Grind Style Training. I definitely recommend checking any of them out. You may not have heard of the Red Delta Project, so I'll leave a link to his channel down below. He's got such great content. If by any chance you're watching this video, Matt, great content, keep up the work, and I find your work very, very inspiring, and the books that you did, fantastic work. But that's it for today, guys. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, consider subscribing. Let me know if you've read any of these books, any other books that you would recommend to any other beginners or anyone who's just interested in bodyweight fitness at all. Make sure you comment down below so other people can try and find them and expand their learning as well. And that's it for today, guys. I will see you in the next one.